18 years old, a smiling, bubbly girl loved by her family. For 20 years, that family has asked, how did Cheryl James die at the Deepcut Army Barracks? Today, they got an answer. Suicide. But an answer they disagree with.
We are deeply saddened by the coroner's conclusions, having sat through all of the evidence ourselves, listened carefully to every word, read every statement and reread every testimony. In short, it's our opinion that it did not lead to this verdict.
Cheryl James was found dead at the Deepcut Army Barracks in November 1995. Dead from a single gunshot wound to the head. Little evidence was taken at the time and her death was initially ruled a suicide. For 2 decades, her family fought for another inquest, and last year it was finally granted. Today, Coroner Brian Barker QC released his findings. He said that the Army failed in its basic duty of care to recruits. Haphazard provision of welfare support was insufficient, he said. The general culture of Deepcut in 1995 was far below the standard expected. He said there was a sexualized atmosphere and that some instructors saw young females as a sexual challenge. But crucially, despite all the scathing criticism, the coroner decided none of that played a part in Cheryl's death. He said, without any evidential foundation, I cannot find any particular aspect of the regime, on balance of probability, more than minimally contributed to Ms. James taking her own life. Findings which were welcomed by the Ministry of Defence.
This has been a comprehensive investigation, and I hope the coroner's careful and balanced findings will not be overlooked. We will now study his conclusions carefully to ensure that we continue to train and care for our soldiers to the very highest of standards.
The controversy surrounding this one military base goes beyond the death of Private Cheryl James. She was one of 4 young soldiers to die here in just 7 years, all from gunshot wounds, all while on guard duty, all amid claims of bullying and abuse. Sean Benton, 20 years old, from Hastings, found with 5 gunshot wounds in June 1995. Cheryl James found dead just 5 months later. Jeff Gray from County Durham, killed by 2 gunshot wounds to the head in 2001. And James Collinson from Perth, a single gunshot wound through his chin. Both Private Gray and Collinson were just 17 years old. The Army has insisted that all 4 deaths were suicide. The families dispute that. This week, the Ministry of Defence let the cameras into a recruitment training centre in Winchester, keen to show that today's Army is a different place, that the experience of recruits has changed, that senior ranks listen.
If something goes badly wrong, then it'll come to me within hours.
And by badly wrong, what's badly wrong?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, if a soldier, somebody under training feels that he or she is being bullied or something similar, then that will very quickly get to me.
Someone that lowly, and you'll hear about it. You're the Major General. That comes on your radar.
Well, and that's absolutely right. And, you know, the Chief of the General Staff, the head of the Army, has made it absolutely clear, and I am absolutely clear, that there is no place for bullying, harassment or intimidation in the Army. And therefore, if something goes wrong, then it is flagged up to me immediately, and so it should be.
Changes have been made, lessons have been learned. But for the family of Cheryl James, lessons 2 decades too late.